Hello, folks. Rodrigo here, coming at you with another riveting CAD video. Thanks for tuning in. I probably made you, but this is me. I am actually at home now in my abode. This is my office, in case you want to check it out. Nice space I got going on here. I'm having a little bit of a bedhead day, which is okay. Looks good, but I'm going to turn this off just to not distract myself. We are doing 3C sketching 2 on this one. I'm going to go through the whole thing. You can have this on next to you. These instructions, they may totally change, so don't read what's on here, read what's actually on your paper. There are many ways I have. Every year I change how I am turning this in, and I make the video just once. So just follow the instructions on the paper on how to set this up. It might be different than that. So we're going to focus on this right here. Once you follow the instructions and you know where you're at, then let's start with doing this thing right here. It appears that we need to have the units set to millimeters and sketch on the front plane, rear on the front face on normal orientation, which means 90 degrees. Sounds good. So we're going to do that. Doesn't switch over as nice as I wanted to. So we're going to do millimeters. We are going to try to keep parity with that, meaning that, we could change some other stuff. You would really never have millimeters and pounds or something like that. So we could change all the other stuff. That's a good practice in the future. So go ahead and do that. And it appears that we are doing a sketch on the front face. And to get normal to it means 90 degrees. And so I'm just going to click on the front plane. And that means looking at it face on. Okay. Terrific. We're going to draw the overall shape of the sketch using inferencing to automatically apply constraints where applicable. Hint, you'll need to use a circle, line, and construction commands. Inferencing means like when you actually create constraints in the drawing. For example, this circle is touching that line. That's a constraint. It's a coincident constraint because you built it in such a way that it's touching. These lines are all touching and stuff like that. In this one, we're not too worried about the shape because I know later on we're going to put constraints on it that make things parallel, perpendicular, whatever. And then we'll be doing some dimensioning later on. So we're just drawing the basic shape of that. All right, let's do that. I always like to start in the origin. It really helps with just making things easier. So just to do symmetry and stuff like that. So we're going to do 2 circles. And again, we're figuring out the size later. And I believe I have a general shape and I know the line is touching there. In fact, you'll see below the cursor is right there that there is a coincident constraint. That means that there's a constraint there. And I'm not even going to draw this parallel, even though I know it is. I'm just going to just draw the general shape. You'll see the bottom right there. There was a vertical line or perpendicular. And we could do that. We could do, sure, let's make it vertical. I can make it perpendicular there, but I'm not. I'm just going to, just draw the shape and then set the constraints later. And you'll see how this works. And good times. All right. And then click escape, or at the last one. My escape's not working. Come on. Oops. Ooh. Escape tangent art. My keyboard is not working very well. So we're going to add all the constraints to this right here. We have let's go ahead and zoom in on this. I also don't have my favorite mouse here at home, so it's a little bit slower. You guys have seen my mouse at work. So we have various parallel, perpendicular constraints here. Midpoint constraint right there. These lines should be equal in length. We'll use the equal constraint. Add the constraints needed so your sketch is horizontally symmetric and all lines are horizontal or vertical. Depending on the size and resolution of your screen, your constraints might be under the drop-down menu, and they probably will be. So, it really doesn't like going. Okay, so we got my screen's pretty big, so it shows them all right here. And let's just start by making things horizontal that are meant to be horizontal. So again, just hover over it if you forget the name. And so these are all meant to be horizontal here. And these guys, if they're not already, are meant to be vertical. And that one doesn't look vertical. So that's cool. The other thing we have is, I know we have a tangent constraint, meaning the line is going to like barely touch the top. And so that is a tangent constraint right there. All right. And because we built it with symmetry, it comes on basically this sort of y-axis right here. We also have a tangent constraint there. Excellent. And what else? So we have to build a construction line. We forgot that part. So let's go ahead and build that construction line. I'm going to hit escape on my computer is not working, but lost my construction line there. So we have that lit up and that lit up, and we're gonna draw a construction line, and we're just gonna put it anywhere. I'm gonna give you a hint. That is the midpoint right there. You see the midpoint showed up right there, but we're gonna do it the other way anyway, and and uh, and so we're going to use the midpoint feature to do that, and we're going to click on the midpoint here. Oh, sorry. Let's see that one. And that one. Okay, so that should be on the midpoint. You can click show constraints here, and it's going to look busy, but you'll see that there's a midpoint constraint right there. All right, terrific. Let's see if we did everything we wanted to. All right, we got to make these lines equal. Okay, so let's do that as well, and we're going to use the equal constraint. That to that, and that to that. You got to do two at a time. You can't do all three, so you got to do two at a time. And that changed the shape of everything. It actually looks way more the way we want it to be. And I built it sort of off in the first place, so you could see that this will shape it up for you. Okay. Add your first dimension, which is from the center to the edge, and that is 200. Sounds good. Okay, zoom out using the scroll wheel in the middle. If I push down, I can pan, zoom in, zoom out, just to remember there. We're still learning this. And then we have watch the entire sketch scale to that dimension. And we sure did see that. That was cool. We have, I'll see if I can remember all this. How much can I remember? 35, 50, 70, 200 is already done. So since these three are the same, then that's going to change all of these to 50, and 35 is going to be right here. Okay. We still have the dimension tool lit. Keep in mind what's lit, because that's when you start clicking, that's what it's going to do. Sometimes you don't even know what's lit, and you'll just be like in the circle, and you're just like trying to make a line. You're like, oh, what's going on here? So keep in mind what is lit, so you know what you are doing. Okay. 35. Let's see, 50. And something was 70. I believe it was this one. Okay, 70. All right. Did I get it all? 70, 70. Now, one thing that we didn't constrain was these two are supposed to be equal. These two are lined up somehow. So if it didn't line up, then what you could do is apply the equal constraint from this one to that one. These two are somehow constrained to be on the same line. So that should be applied. Notice everything turned black. That means it's fully constrained. All right. When things are blue, that means they're floating around in space. This means it's locked in. You can't really move anything, right? Here, there's no size applied to it, so it's this means it's fully constrained. That's what that means. And at this point, your sketch should be fully defined. That's basically what I just mentioned. Okay. Add two circles of equal size, one on each protruding tab with construction lines used for positioning to put it in the middle. Add an equal constraint was applied between two circles. Sounds good. 35 inches, diameter of 25. Midpoint constraints were used to center constructions. All right, so we centered it using the construction lines. All right, we'll test myself. Let's see how much I can remember. 25, 35. Okay, boom. Circle. I feel like I already forgot. 25. Okay. And here's a little trick. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to drag this down. Okay, now these are locked in the same spot. Okay. I hope you guys saw that. So I can like click on something and drag it across and keep that constraint. Notice you'll see on the bottom that there's a horizontal constraint there. I don't want to do that, but right here when I made this one, I dragged it down and there's a vertical constraint. So those two circles are locked in there. And then what we have is we have a construction line. Let's go ahead and do that. Boom. And my escape is not working on my keyboard. Yours, you should just hit escape on your keyboard, and I can't. So I have to do it on my mouse. If you double click, it should also get out of it. So let's see if this works. So it's going to keep going, and then at the end you can double click and it'll stop. Okay, so I should just remember to double click when I'm done with something. Check that out. I can tell I already made a mistake there. So let's go ahead and make that coincident, or I didn't start where I wanted to. Be careful where you start and where you stop. And also use the power of zoom, okay? If you can't see something, zoom in, right? So I can check to see that I actually started there and those are constrained and stuff like that. All right, so we have a midpoint constraint, I believe, and that is from here to there. Cannot make midpoint constraint between a segment and one of its points. Well, let's see. I don't know if I did that right or wrong. Let's see. And then something just disappeared. That is funny. I will have to probably pause the video and figure out what I just did. So let's do a midpoint constraint here, and something got locked in. All right, well, this is where I repair some stuff, and I'll let you know what I did wrong. I want to pause the video. Okay, I'm not really sure what I did wrong, but I'll show you something here. Just use the undo button until you get back to where things got messed up. And so I just did undid until I got back to where things weren't messed up. And I did forget to make these equal, so I just did that. And that fixed that. So those are both diameter 25. And then somehow I did the midpoint again and it worked. So let's try that again. And that happens. It happens to me. So it went to the midpoint now. Sometimes I just click on something and it just doesn't work. And so you can just click the undo button and get back to where things started and yeah, work on that. So cool. I'm just going to go ahead and click OK on the sketch. I might have to go back in there, but I want to see what we are doing here. So that is 50 equal constraint. I believe we did all this. Did I put the 35? I did not put the 35, so let's do that. And from here to here is 33, 35. Okay, notice that those are lined up because I did a vertical constraint and it is all black. Okay, so now we are going back here. Complete your sketch by clicking the check mark. If you accidentally, you have 15 seconds to restore. Yes, so quick hint, okay. If you do something, whatever it may be, and you just click the X, you can just click restore right here. Okay, so but we don't want that, so oops, look at that, undo is your friend. So I just want to delete that right there. All right. Okay. We will measure the area region to see if everything was done correctly. Okay. View normal to the top plane and select the orange sketch region below. View normal to the top plane. Note the area in the bottom right corner of Onshape. Feels like view normal to the front plane. View normal to the top plane. That might be front plane. I don't think we are looking at the top plane here because the top plane is that one right there. So I believe I'm going to have to change the instructions there. And so this one right here, if I highlight that, 16682.523. 16682. Okay, terrific. And then is there a length here? Note the area, continue next page, start the quiz to check your answer. I don't think there's a quiz on there, but that is okay. All right, so that is that video. I'll create another one for the next one right here.